BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hey, it's me, Sam. I'm your Thursday host for BodyBags, and this week is week 433. And the movie I am doing in question is a remake, but not in the way, you would think of a remake. You would probably think of a remake being like, okay, so like there's this movie made in like the 80s, and then someone came up and was like, oh, and someone came up in like 2000 or like 2010 kind of thing, and was like, I want to remake it, they remake it. No, this is a movie that I'm pretty sure was made, the original was made in like 99 or like sometime in like 2000, 2001 kind of area, and this movie was made in like 2003, 2004. It was, I think it was 2004. This movie is The Grudge. So, this is like one of those movies out there that was like directed by not a smaller guy, but a person that was like, not everyone knows, but it was produced by like big names like Sam Raimi or whatever. Yeah. Actually, well, you would have known him if you watched the original, because the same guy that made the original movie directed this. So I guess this is just one of those weird tales where like America's like, oh, they made this really cool movie, we want to go and remake it too. We want to go and make it too. So you could go and say, for instance, the original Godzilla movie, like the first Godzilla movie. It was made in Japan, and then a few years later, America was like, okay, we wanna make this, but with our own spin, kind of thing. So they used a lot of shots from the original, and then added some scenes. This is and to be honest, I have never seen the original Grudge. I think it was called Juon. But I do know that both the movies are not the same, but very similar. Obviously, it's the same director. There's probably a difference. I just don't know what that difference is, other than the fact that in the Japanese version, it's probably all Japanese characters, while in this, since it's an American movie, you gotta get some American actors that people know. Like, I don't know, for instance, Sarah Michelle Gellar. Come on, come on. Obviously, you got to get a big name in there. And then you also have, what's his name? Crap. Alright, I don't remember what the guy's name is, but I'm pretty sure he was in Independence Day, and he was playing the president. Yeah, I don't know the guy's name. I just know that that's who he was. Anyways, you also have, obviously your Ted Raimi appearance, since he's usually in whatever Sam Raimi either directs or produces or whatever. So say, for instance, Ted Raimi's like in Evil Dead 2, an Army of Darkness. He's in, this. He's in, Intruders. I could, go on about all the cameos Ted Raimi's in. Anyways, let's talk about the movie. And just so I could, just because this movie is basically 20 years old, maybe 18 technically, but it's been out for so much time that I'm going to go and just talk about this movie. Like, actually talk about it, like spoilers, if, whatever. So, if you don't want to hear the spoiler talk, go watch the movie first, and then, listen to or watch the review, whatever you want to do. Alright. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, you basically have this situation where there's this woman that's, like, stalking this American guy because she's really in love with him. And then the husband of the woman finds out, and then he basically gets, like, super pissed. He ends up killing her, their child, the cat, I think, of the house, and then himself. And that basically creates this thing, this, like, curse in the house, so that if anyone, steps into the house, they're gonna get killed by a ghost of one of those, people that ended up dying in the house. So, this movie is basically about a girl, she happens to get into the house, because, that's how the movie is, obviously, and then she tries to find out why it's happening, and yeah. I thought this movie was pretty good. Now, given I've never seen the original, so I can't go and be like, it was so good because, it was this from the original, whatever. I'm just gonna have to review this movie as if it was its own thing, as if I have no clue about Juon. I like this movie. The only real thing I did not like, and it's not that I didn't like it, it was just, whatever. It kind of felt like the ending may have been forced 10 to 15 minutes. I feel like there's a lot more they could have done or talked about or whatever. Or maybe even throughout the movie, because it was just kind of a little bit, timing was kind of, I really liked the idea of the ghosts, though, and how they worked. I thought that was interesting. The music was really good. It was pretty good. And, as a whole, I thought this movie was a, okay to, pretty solid movie. Yeah. I'm not gonna go and be like, this is gonna be in my top 5 movies of all time, but this is gonna be a movie that I'll be like, hey, you wanna watch a good old ghost movie, go watch this, or whatever. I liked the, I don't know if they use stop mo. Alright, it's not stop motion, but it looks like stop motion. So, there's, scenes where, one of the ghosts is, crawling around, and the way it's, shot, it's, it looks like it's a stop motion, but obviously it's not. So, I don't know if either they made the person actually, act out, what they wanted, or if they just took pictures, okay, stay still for a second, picture, okay, go to the next phase. Alright, take a picture, next phase. I don't know, something like, it was one of those things, but I really like how that looked. The sound was, the sounds of the ghost makes, you're like, oh, you could go and make it kind of creep someone out who, got scared watching the movie, so, you just start making that sound, or, whatever. And next to someone who's freaked out about the movie, and they're gonna be like, stop doing that, or whatever. So this is a fun movie to watch, in the end of the day, anything Ted Raimi's in is gonna be a good movie. Not trying to go and be like, Ted Raimi's the reason why this movie is good, but I am gonna say that it's kind of like this. Ted Raimi's like this, okay, I want 2 things checked off. 1, it's a good movie, and 2, my cameos is good, okay? If it's not that, I'm not in it, and, that's why. Go find me a terrible movie out there that Ted Raimi's in as a cameo, or he's a star in it. Because I don't think there is one out there. So, end of the day, it's a solid movie. I would probably give it an 8, maybe a 7.8. Movies out there don't go and just, become 9s all the time, because 1, not every movie's perfect. 2, obviously I, view movies differently, and then, 3, I don't care about what you think. If this movie's your top 3, go ahead for it, If this movie isn't, then, what else is there to talk about? Well, since I already talked about spoilers, let's go and just put out the obvious. It's funny, they bring in that guy, I forgot his name, I can't believe I forgot his name, the guy that plays the president in Independence Day. So, alright, so you go on, it's 2004, the movie comes out to theaters, and you're like, oh my gosh, that guy's in it, he's one of my favorite actors. You go in the movie, he's in the first scene, you're like, oh my god, look, it's right here, and then he goes and kills himself, and you're like, what? It's the whole reason I came to watch this movie was because this actor was in it, and now he's dead. It's like, what? But they have some flashback scenes later that show him, and, it's just one of those things where you're like, oh, he's in it, I would expect him to either be one of the main characters or at least last longer. And next thing you know, he ends up dying like that. It's very similar to Halloween 2018, where you have those 2 characters in the beginning of the movie, and you're like, they're not big actors, but the characters are you're like, oh, they're gonna be, the new Dr. Loomis kind of thing. That's what he looks like, anyways. And then next thing you know, that's not the case. So it was just funny to me that, that happened. But yeah, I thought it was cool that they had Sarah Michelle Gellar. I said that name right? Yeah. And you all probably think of her from, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but whenever I hear the name Sarah Michelle Gellar, I always think about that one Call of Duty zombie map from Black Ops 1 called Call of the Dead, where it was like the first ever celebrity map. They had like Robert Englund, Danny Trejo, Michael Rooker, and Sarah Michelle Gellar as like the characters you could play in the map. So that was, whenever I think of, hear her name, that's what I think of. Anyways, solid movie, not a movie that I would go and put in my top 10, but not a movie I would go and tell you never watch it. I would say go and watch it at least 5 times before you die. 5 times, okay? That's all I'm asking. They don't have to be in the same night or same day, but they do have to be within your lifespan. Anyways, was your review. This was my review of The Grudge. This movie right here. Look at that creepy eye. It's gonna get you. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Yeah, this was the movie, The Grudge. Really solid movie. Yep, everything about it was really solid. So I'll give it, a 7.8 to 8. And I think I'll go and see y'all next week. Next week's a good one. Or, I say it's a good one. But then you probably will say, no, IMDb tells me otherwise. Yeah, screw off about, IMDb, whatever. Anyways, I'm Sam, your Thursday guy. I see you next week.